There was an idea that if we could bring three crazy nut jobs together, they could do some good or some bad, or what the heck, we'll do whatever we want. Welcome everybody to the Triple J podcast, the Triple J Trail Mix. This episode is one that I've been waiting for a long time to do. Today we're going to be talking about the Phase 1, the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes, we are.
And there was much rejoicing.
What?
This is very much my wheelhouse. If you've listened to our intro episode, you know that I'm a huge comic nerd, and very much of both of my other two brothers here. This is a very big fandom for each of them as well. And yeah, we're gonna really try and keep it succinct this episode to try and so that we don't bore you guys. Which, if you guys are comic nerds too, then you probably won't get bored. But
if you're bored, you can switch the video or switch the thing that you're listening to.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Oh man. Okay. Cool. So I want to try and go through this as structured as possible. So we'll go in order of the movie releases in Phase 1. So. And just to remind everybody, especially for the people who aren't as versed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I would be very surprised if you weren't, because they've been very much become, mainstream pop culture. Phase 1 of the MCU. What were you gonna say?
I just said yeah. That's true. I just agreed with you.
Yes. Phase 1 of the MCU is comprises with Iron Man 1. The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America: The First Avenger, and the Avengers. That is all it comprises Phase 1. So we'll be talking about each movie individually, going in order, and share some experiences, thoughts, discoveries, factoids about each one, and then we'll talk about Phase 1 in itself and how it works together. So yeah. Do y'all have any thoughts going into it?
Not particularly. That's I'm just ready to go.
Cool. All right. Starting off with Iron Man. All right. So just to give a little context, Iron Man was released in 2008. It was directed by the fabulous Jon Favreau, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Terrence Howard, and the rest of the star-studded cast. And this explores Iron Man's origin as he is, captured by a terrorist group, and he is severely injured in his heart area, and he finds a way to make it not so with technology, but then he uses that idea of technology to find a higher purpose and to become a superhero.
Yes, he does.
So my first question for you guys is, do y'all remember your first experience watching this movie? Like what was going on? Like, what was your take when you first saw this movie?
Ooh, when I first saw this movie, man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I remember we had just come back from, we were just in America for like the summer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to the movies with my uncle and my parents, and then a few other extended family. I think we were in Florida because my grandma's sister, which I guess is my aunt or great aunt, I don't know. But we were trying to decide between Incredible Hulk and Iron Man. And I think Incredible Hulk was a little bit too late or too far away. So we decided on going to see Iron Man. And I saw everything in theaters, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
I don't think I saw this one in theaters. But I was going back watching them, and I don't think I truly got into the MCU until Captain America. I think that was the
Ah,
first one that I saw in theaters, and then I really started getting into it.
nice. Well, you were Team Cap anyway, so that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, well, absolutely. Because, you know, we'll get into that later, but
Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually didn't see this one in theaters either. I think well, I'll get to it, but I mean, Incredible Hulk was my first MCU theater experience. But I remember seeing parts of this movie because a family that we were working with in Uganda, the dude had gotten it on his computer, and so they were watching it on their computer. It was him and his wife and my parents. They all watched it before I did. And
nice.
so they watched it. I think the other, the dad of our friends, he was a big comic fan, so he was the one, kind of initiating it. I know my parents are very much not of the comic fan group. Yeah, they didn't grow up reading comics or anything like that. So they love the movies, but they're not like deep fans from that era.
Right.
So yeah, they watched it, and they were kind of watching it, because they were watching it with that other couple, but then also they were kind of screening it for us. So I think because I was like 12, I turned 12 that year in 2008. So yeah, I still was kind of getting into the PG-13 movies. So yeah, I watched it on that computer as well. But it was like a little, maybe like a few days after that. I had got, and that was, my introduction. I didn't even know about the MCU at all at this point. I was very much of a Marvel movie fan because I had been watching the Spider-Man movies and Fantastic Four and X-Men. I had been watching all of those, as I could get a hold of them before this. So I knew it was Marvel, and so I was in. But it wasn't until the MCU started becoming a term, and then I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely something cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the concept of a shared universe hadn't really come out or come up until this series of movies, right?
Yeah, definitely. There had always been like references to other things in movies, but and we'll get to this when we talk about Avengers. But yeah,
Yeah.
Avengers was the first big film of like a multi-franchise single, work of art.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Or wait,
Yeah.
let me look at the date for something.
Okay.
You could technically argue Alien versus Predator was first, but that's kind of
Oh, true.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
but
That's fair.
it's not as many. It's like that's like a two movie franchises coming into one, like this
Yeah.
thing versus that thing in a monster movie versus like these different characters having their own movie being together in one movie. But
yeah, true. Thank you for the correction and the fact check.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
well,
that was great.
it probably Alien versus Predator probably wasn't the first one to do that either. It was probably another movie from
Yeah.
a long time ago. But yeah, I just thought of that
Cool.
actually.
No, you're good. Yeah. So what do y'all think about Jon Favreau's direction? Do you know, like watching through this movie, could you tell like a few of his, if there were any, tells of his direction from the other stuff that you've seen from him?
You mean from Iron Man?
Because Jon Favreau did Elf, and he's also one of the big, spearheads behind the Mandalorian show.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Other than the fact that it was just awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not super good at picking up little tells on the different type of directing and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, me either. Unless it's kind of like I really know though.
Yeah.
Person
No,
kind of thing.
yeah. That's one of the questions that I have up here. But I mean, honestly, like Jon Favreau is really good about that. I think. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but he's just very versatile in his direction and stuff that he creates.
Sure.
Because I mean, like everyone's seen the meme of like he decides to do a superhero movie, starts the MCU, starts to do a Christmas movie, becomes an instant classic, and then he decides to do something Star Wars, and he creates one of the best Star Wars shows ever.
Yep.
So
That's true.
he's just great. And for those who don't know, for those who don't know, Jon Favreau actually stars in this movie as Happy Hogan, and so that's always a great thing to see. Directors star in their own movies, but like this is Happy Hogan is a bigger role than you would expect from other directors. Because like you have Quentin Tarantino, who's made like cameos in his movies. I mean, first movie he was very much of a bigger role in Reservoir Dogs, but the other directors, they're kind of in the background in like one shot.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do y'all think about the story?
I went back and rewatched it. It's been a while since I've seen that particular Iron Man, and I forgot how much of a jerk that Tony Stark was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I just
insane,
thought
man.
I just was like, wow, he's just like really not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember reading someone somewhere that when Stan Lee created Iron Man and Tony Stark, it was almost. I mean, I have no idea if this is true or not, but it was like almost off of a dare of like he had to create someone that everyone should hate, but they love him. In a sense.
I think I've heard that too. So that could lend some reliability to that fact, but that makes sense though. Definitely. Actually, to bounce off what you were saying, here's a little bit of a a did you know from the movie, and I'm getting all this from IMDb.com, by the way. But it says here that director Jon Favreau wanted Robert Downey Jr. because he felt the actor's past was right for the part. He commented, quote, "The best and worst moments of Robert's life have been in the public eye. He had to find an inner balance to overcome obstacles that went far beyond his career." That's Tony Stark. Robert brings a depth that goes beyond a comic book character having trouble in high school or can't get the girl, end quote. Favreau also felt Downey could make Stark, quote, a likable butthole, end quote, but also depict an authentic emotional journey once he won over the audience.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep. There's actually, and this, I mean, this is definitely, factual because it comes from Robert Downey himself. But, this movie actually helped him in his real life. Because leading up to this, like his roles and stuff, and his career was he was a drug addict. He was pretty much a washed up actor kind of guy. But playing this role and having to get in the mindset of a hero, a superhero, no less, really got him on track, and this has helped him become the man that he is today.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's insane. Sense. Yeah, that's the power of these characters, man. It's insane. Yeah. What is y'all's I mean, okay, before I take over the whole discussion, do y'all have any like points or things that y'all want to talk about it?
I don't think so. Not too much about Iron Man.
Jackie, do you know did you want to say something like how you like the story?
I mean the story was still it was good. It was one of the the first ones, like the first superhero movies. So everybody says like, oh, now it's just like a template that they keep
Yeah.
following. But it was one of the first, so it was probably better than some of the ones we have today, because the ones we have today we already are built on this one and a few others. So it was the first one to do it, so it's probably better at that time than it would be watching it now.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah, it definitely holds up in my opinion, like even today. It's so good. It ages really well.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked the CGI on that that Iron Man suit better than I liked the later ones.
Yes, definitely. It
Mhm.
gives it so much more realistic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. That is awesome. I wanted to share another factoid. So y'all may know this, but the quote "I am Iron Man" was ad-libbed by Robert Downey Jr. Producer Kevin Feige approved using it in the final cut of the film and credits this film with his decision to largely do away with secret identities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Only Spider-Man conceals his identity, while Thor's alter ego Donald Blake is similarly not used.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was ad-libbed, like I am Iron Man, and then they just went with it. But I didn't realize it changed the entire way things were gonna go.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
Yeah, because they also try to set Thor up with a identity, but he never really just used it that much. I don't know. I haven't seen Thor. I haven't seen the first Thor in a long time.
So you're saying that you didn't watch it for this episode? No, I'm just kidding. Here's my final factoid of the film. It says to avoid spoilers about the final press conference, the extras were told that it was a dream sequence. Isn't that interesting?
That's cool.
Yeah, fun little tidbit there. Yeah. I liked. What do y'all think about this choice? This is my final question for the movie, because we probably need to move on to the next one. But what do y'all think about, like, starting the MCU out? Was Iron Man a good choice for the starting character?
I think so.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of goes back to well, actually, let me restart that statement.
Okay.
I think they had to, because I think at the time that they made the movie, he was one of the very few that Marvel actually had rights to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So there's that. But then also I liked what Jon Favreau said about when he picked RDJ to do the part. It gave you that genuine emotional growth. So like you got to watch him grow from the very first, total jerk all the way up to the, and spoiler alert, heroic sacrifice at the very end of the series.
Yeah, definitely.
So, versus like if you start off with like a Captain America, he's a very, right off the bat, he's a virtuous guy who's kind of like the embodiment of a soldier, an American, just kind of like what he's perfect. He's the golden boy.
Yeah.
So like there's really not a whole lot of room for him to grow and change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has his own arc for the throughout the whole thing, because they kind of touch on it in Endgame when they have flashbacks and Cap is seeing himself, and then the guy's saying, "I could do this all day," and he's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's kind of you kind of see both Captain America and Iron Man. They start on like kind of polar opposites, and then you see them meet in the middle by the end.
Yeah.
And they're on. They go in the opposite direction, but they meet in the middle at the end, in their ultimate form. Because Cap, realizes the dark, mystery behind the dark secrets behind, ideas and institutions that he's trusted in, and then, but Iron Man could have told him that anyways. But then he sees, the hope and the goodness behind things that he's not trusted, and stuff like that. Cool. But yeah, well, so any final thoughts about Iron Man 1?
On to the next one.
Cool. Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk. 2008 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like almost at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, truth be told, I didn't realize that they actually considered this a part of Phase 1 officially.
Really?
Yeah, because like if you go on like Disney Plus, they don't have it.
Well, that's the thing though. Okay, here's a little factoid. Disney, Marvel Studios, Disney doesn't actually own the full rights to the movie rights to the Hulk movies.
Oh.
It's actually New Line Cinema.
That makes sense.
And it's due to the fact that New Line really wanted to. I have to look up their story, the exact story, but it's because of New Line and their, I guess, obstinacy of not giving the character fully over to Disney is the reason why we haven't had any other solo Hulk films.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the only one that we have in the whole MCU.
Yeah,
the only times that he's showed up has been in Avengers and Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. So, it's because of that, because Disney Marvel Studios doesn't have the full rights, the full movie rights for that solo character. I mean, they have the rights to feature him, but not to have him as the main character.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. So what about Incredible Hulk? Like, what was y'all's first experience watching this movie? What was going on with that?
I think I remember watching this one like at my dad's dad or mom, one of them, in one of my grandparents' houses, and they like had to. I mean, because this was like in 2008 or 9 or so. We were 10, 11, 12, and I remember they turned it off, or they fast. I think they just skipped over the part where he's like walking up from the lake and you can see his butt.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were like, "Oh no, you shouldn't." I'm like, whatever. But I do vaguely remember that. That was like my first experience with it.
Well, so walking up from the lake, showing his butt. What scene was that?
That was after. I think that was after he fought like the demon dogs.
Oh, see, that's what I was thinking. Oh boy. Huh. You are actually thinking of the 2003 Hulk film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? I actually, as soon as I started talking about that, I was like, I think that's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to mention. Like, it's kind of weird because within 5 years, there were 2 Hulk films. It's insane, but they're like completely different. Yeah. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I remember watching that one like growing up as well, and that was interesting.
Yeah, I totally forgot that those were 2 separate movies.
I know, it's so hard.
I get them mixed up because I grew up watching, or that's the one I watched when I was younger, but I never saw the Marvel one until actually when we went to your house, or we went to Sam Bankson's house and did the what was it, the marathon?
The marathon thing.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually saw it, which was like last year or earlier.
Probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Dang, son. That's insane.
Wow. Yeah. It's
Well,
embarrassing.
yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, I saw this movie in theaters. It was for my birthday. Because how my family celebrated birthdays, we always like went out to eat where we wanted, and then we got to watch a movie in theaters. So, and I knew that this was out in the theaters where we were in Uganda. So we so I really wanted to go see it. So we saw that. And it was great. It was fantastic. It's probably that 2003 Hulk movie is probably the reason why they didn't fully dwell on his origin in this one. Because
true.
they probably because it did it fully in the 2003 film, but in this one they kind of just it was part of the intro credits sequence, and so yeah, then they just kind of went straight forward to like him being hunted by General Ross and stuff like that. Wanted to just I just want to let you guys know just I can cover this base. So the director Louis Leterrier, hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he's actually also known for doing Clash of the Titans after this movie, and then even later he did Now You See Me.
Oh, cool.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
And he's actually done a lot of the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance TV show.
So with this guy, I don't know what it is, but all of his movies, I want to watch them. I just never do because I haven't seen Now You See Me or Now You See Me Too, and then I saw
Dang.
Clash of the Titans, but I haven't seen Wrath of the Titans.
Yeah, I know I've seen one of those Titans movies, but I haven't seen the other one. I've seen the first Now You See Me, but I haven't seen the second one.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's very much not of a director. I mean, he does a great job, but at the same time, it's just like he's not a director that you're like you hear of. He's doing this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's him. So I really want to go see that. you know, yeah, cool. So what did y'all think about what were your thoughts about this movie, just in general?
Well, now that I know which movie I'm actually thinking about, um, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was just an interesting story, and it does kind of suck that we didn't get to see that Hulk in the MCU like later. I kind of
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and what they did with him. It fits the universe, but I kind of liked the 2008 Hulk personally a little bit better.
The
characterization of him.
Yeah, I personally like the way that the way that Hulk looks like in this movie more than when he's like when he's like the Hulk version of Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
I love the look of him in this movie a lot more.
He just seems more, I guess the way to put it would be like savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about like later on he looks more savage?
Yeah,
Or
in the 2008 film.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Definitely.
Well, also I also read it was either Reddit or something, like a comment thing about this, and they were saying that Mark Ruffalo has a better grasp at giving the depth and the emotion to the character, and I do agree with that because I didn't really feel super emotionally invested in the other person, but on the other hand, the other guy really didn't get a chance. He just had that one movie.
Yeah.
So I also do remember thinking like when I saw the trailers for the 2008 Hulk, I really liked, like you said, JT, the look of it. So I do think he looks more like a Hulk than Mark Ruffalo, but I do think Mark Ruffalo's just acting does seem to give it more depth, at least with what we have to compare. But then again, we don't have a single or a solo film for Mark Ruffalo, so it would be hard to say exactly.
True. Yeah. That is it. One factoid I wanted to share with you about this movie. So, did y'all notice the slight cameos for the extra Hulk, Hulk world characters in this movie. So the main bad guy is Abomination,
Right.
slash General Ross, who in the comics later becomes Red Hulk. But there's actually two other characters that they kind of hint towards being like other characters in Hulk's sphere of characters.
Trying to think. I can't remember who you're talking about.
Okay, so Betty Ross, when he goes to try and see her again, when he makes it back into the States, and she's with this other doctor dude. So that dude is actually Doc Samson. Like his character actually will become Doc Samson in the comics.
Really?
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Doc Samson is like he has his whole little tiff with radiation, radioactive stuff and gamma radiation and stuff like that, and he becomes like this kind of he just becomes a huge strong man, but he retains his intelligence. So and he just kind of he's kind of like a Conan He-Man kind of character, but he's deals with gamma radiation people. So yeah. And then the other one was the guy who tried to come up with a cure, right? Samuel Stearns, Mr. Blue, right?
Yes.
He actually, like, they tease it actually in the film, but he becomes leader, which is the big Hulk villain with the huge, brain head. And yeah, because they actually teased it in the movie because he gets his head knocked when he tries to treat Abomination, and some of the blood drips down into the cut on his head, and his head starts to swell. And so that's the tease to him becoming leader. So yeah, that was cool stuff. Yeah, people. All right, moving on to the next one. 2010's Iron Man 2. Woo! Jon Favreau returns to direct this one, and the universe gets a little bit bigger in this one.
It does.
Yeah. So what was y'all's first time watching this? What was the context? Was it theaters or no?
I do think it was the theaters again. I think it was in Kazakhstan. But I don't remember if it was in English or in Russian.
Yeah. Nice.
But I remember, I think it was in Russian. Because I remember it being really, really cool. Like all this stuff that I saw, but I didn't quite exactly I mean, it's a pretty straightforward movie, but I didn't understand every single thing that happened.
Yeah. So I'm sure that they didn't subtitle the or dub the
No.
the parts with Ivan and what's his name?
Oh yeah.
Well, I think they changed because the way they do it for the theaters is they have voice actors like do the voices for the people. So
Nice.
they keep it consistent with the voices. They dub over the original Russian too, but I don't remember exactly what happened, but
Cool.
I'm pretty sure they don't have like his normal voice come through and then like they have the voice actor keep speaking because that would just kind of be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be good.
Interesting.
But I don't remember if they have subtitles or not.
Okay. Yeah. I at this point from here on out, pretty much this is when I started actually getting, into all the movies. So from this point out, I've watched them in theaters. I watched them pretty soon to them premiering. I would watch them.
Good one, true. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This one has one of my my personal favorite scenes with the ending scene when Brody and Tony are sitting in the thing fighting off the Ivan drones.
Oh yeah.
It's just
nice.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes. or because both of them were like showing off all their different cool uh gadget things or whatever
Yeah, all the
weapons.
cool things they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
War Machine was introduced.
War Machine. Along with Black Widow.
Also true. Black Widow made her first appearance in this one.
Yep. It's insane.
Natalie Rushman, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Natalie Rushman was her alias. That's awesome. Yeah, I really liked the main villain choice for this one because this kind of shows like how cool the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been and how they plan out the villains and stuff. Because Ironmonger in the first one was kind of in line with the comics history. So Ironmonger was one of the first villains there, Iron Man, and it makes sense. But Whiplash in this one is actually a fairly newer villain in the comics.
Yeah.
So I like how they kind of swap with that, with with all the characters kind of thing. They kind of dip into the old history and the new stuff, swap or at the same time kind of stuff. So yeah, that's good. It's good. Yeah, this one's really good. I enjoy watching this movie a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
Because this is when I almost want to say this is when you can start to really see everything start to branch out.
Yep.
If that makes any sense.
Definitely.
Because Iron Man 2, that's part of Fury's Big Week, right?
Yeah, it's part of Fury's Big Week.
Yeah, it's that one, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. The first, it's pretty much all of Phase 1 except for Avengers, but and then Captain America, like the very end of it, that's all part of Fury's Big Week.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This was the one where it starts to branch out. Just like what Nick Fury said at the end of the movie, you're part of a bigger universe, you just don't know it yet.
Oh, yeah.
This is when we see a peek through the veil of that bigger universe. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Y'all want to move on to the next one? Y'all have any other thoughts?
Nope. Keep on rolling.
Sweet.
Yep.
Cool. Going on to Thor 2011.
This one.
Nice. This is directed by Kenneth Branagh, which it makes sense with the tone of this movie because this is just like this one in the Dark World. It's very much Thor in his world is very much more like Shakespearean kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is very much actually what Kenneth Branagh is coming from. Like he's directed Shakespeare films, films based on Shakespeare works, and he starred in a lot of Shakespeare films. So this is very much pours out of his wheelhouse and his world that he's been a part of.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually saw a post someone had posted on Instagram, and it was a screenshot of this news article saying, it was an announcement for the casting for Thor. So it was the casting of Chris Hemsworth as Thor and Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and it was saying that these two newbies, they don't have much of a rap sheet for acting and stuff. So we'll see where their careers go. We're questioning it and kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But little did they know that it was gonna take off like nobody's business.
Yeah. Well,
not per se this movie, but their characters will very much go on.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
This one was like my least favorite movie out of, so even now, like out of all the Marvel movies, because when I watched it, I got to the end, and I was expecting something way more. Like the battle is just so, like, I don't know, underwhelming. I was waiting for there to be a bigger battle, but it was like, nope, that's it. It's like, oh, okay, well,
yeah,
that was kind of not that big of a deal. But yeah, when you say the thing about the Shakespeare thing, though, that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's good. Yeah, this movie's is good. I mean, it's straightforward. I mean, it's just good, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's not like wow, this is amazing, but it's not bad. So yeah,
It's a very simple, straightforward story.
Yeah.
That kind of it just keeps painting the bigger picture.
yep, true.
Because with this one,
Mhm.
it introduced obviously Thor and the Nine Realms.
Yeah,
So like you went from Iron Man and Hulk, all contained, and Captain America,
mhm.
which I think actually technically came out after this one, but
Yeah.
um, all contained within Earth. To now, you all of a sudden you got the Nine Realms. You're in space. You got Asgard. You got Jotunheim and all the other ones.
Mhm. Very true. And I actually have a really good point to that when we talk about the later discussion. But yeah, cool. Yeah, and it introduces like pretty staple characters in Thor's world. Like there's nothing really much new. There's this is the movie where they kind of don't really throw in the newer comic stuff. This is very much taking inspiration from the original comics. What one of the factoids that I mentioned earlier about Donald Blake, when I was mentioning about that, that's actually a really cool reference because you don't hear that name in the movie except for when they're trying to cover for him and get him out of the shield base thing. And it says like on a fake ID, like Donald Blake, right?
Right.
Which actually
yeah.
that's the secret identity that Thor used in the original comics when he was on Earth. He wouldn't have himself as Thor Odinson. It was Donald Blake,
No,
and
that's
so
fun.
they kind of they just referenced that in the movie.
Yeah,
That's fun.
because that's Jane Foster's ex that he stole her clothes from.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Ist gut. Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
and Hawkeye is introduced in this one, right?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
This is horrible. Like even like I make lists at work when nothing's going on, and I like have listed like characters as they're introduced in the MCU. I always forget that Hawkeye is introduced in this movie. Oh my gosh. Yes, but yes, he was introduced
Yeah.
in this movie, definitely. And we don't even get a reference to his name at all. Like we're just do they say Agent Barton or do they just reference him as an agent, right?
Yeah, they don't even say his name.
Yeah, I
You
think
just
so.
see him and he's got the bow.
Because the
we
beginning of Avengers is really what
Yes.
introduces Hawkeye the most, but we do see him first here in Thor.
Yep. That's good. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Oh, good.
Cool. Next one is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Not the Winter
Whoa.
Soldier. The first Avenger. The first Avenger.
Hang on.
My bad. Yeet.
Now who's getting movies confused?
Yep. You're rubbing off on me.
This movie was my favorite out of all the first phase ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's hard between this one and Avengers because Avengers is just so like groundbreaking or whatever. But this one, all of the Captain America movies are good.
Oh yeah.
Like
Definitely.
I like them the most. But this one, I think I saw this one in theaters in America right before we went back to Kazakhstan. But
You get
I remember
full
seeing
shot
the
of
trailer.
Patriotism.
The what? Oh
You
yeah,
get that full shot of patriotism coming stateside.
Yes.
I remember seeing the trailer with one of my friends, with a bunch of my friends, and then one of my friend's brothers was like, "Since when did Captain America have a gun?" Because there's a point where he's holding a shield and he has a pistol in front and he's shooting it. And then I was just like, "Wait, that's actually true." I don't remember him like ever having a gun or anything.
Dang.
Like
Well,
in the
he
comics.
he is a soldier first.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought they did a really good job in this one of, I mean, obviously it was dramatized, but no, showing
Yeah.
his like military background.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like Jackie just said, a lot of people see him as the Avenger, Captain America, the leader of the Avengers. The guy with the shield, the guy that runs around and punches people.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
he was a soldier first,
Mm-hmm.
back in World War II. So that's he went
Mhm.
around and he killed Nazis. That's what he did.
Mhm.
Yeah. There you go. That is it.
This one,
Yeah. Say what?
I was gonna say this one had so much like I guess like action in it too. Like because you had all the different um like JT was just saying with the military, you had all the fighting scenes from the military. But then you also have all the fight scenes between like Captain America and Red Skull. And it was really I guess a whole bunch of stuff going on as
Yeah.
opposed to Thor, which is kind of like you said, more of a drama or not a drama, a Shakespearean kind of thing that plays out. So I think that's another reason why I like this one more too.
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah, that's fair.
This
Yeah,
one.
definitely different style.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of style, the director for this movie, Joe Johnston. So I just wanted to. I like kind of giving the directors their their due.
Yeah.
And seeing what else they've worked on just to connect the dots. Especially for you guys. So, actually, the first big thing that this guy worked on, he worked on the visual effects for Indiana Jones, like the first one.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
in '81.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Then he went on to do his directorial debut in '89 by doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh,
Then in '91 he did The Rocketeer, which is a movie I still on my list. I really want to see it. It looks really cool. Then he did what else? He did Jumanji in '95.
oh,
Really?
Yeah, and then he did October Sky in '99. That's a
oh,
great
that's a
movie.
good one.
Yeah.
Um, Jurassic Park 3 in 2001.
Huh.
Hidalgo in 2004.
Oh,
And
that's a
then
good one.
That's a good movie.
yeah, then he did Captain America, and then did a few other things that I'm not familiar with. And then he did his most recent one was The Nutcracker and the Four Realms in 2018, which I didn't really
Wait,
get
was
around to
that
seeing
the
that one.
action-packed one for Nutcracker?
Yeah,
Like
it was the one that had more like war in it and stuff.
yeah, okay. I wanted to see that one, but I forgot what it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
that
cool.
is it.
No wonder he did a good job
Mhm.
with this one,
Mhm.
Captain America.
Yeah, he seems to be really good at doing like older style movies, ones that are set in the past.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've heard about Rocketeer. It's like a retro futurism kind of movie. So yeah, it's kind of like what people a long time ago thought what the future would look like, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's good. This movie's amazing. I really like this one. Um, I yeah. I don't know if I have any other thoughts about it. I love Captain America's character. I
Yeah.
adore it. And yeah, Chris Evans has mentioned, about Captain America, like he's all the good stuff that I would want to be in a man. That's what Chris Evans has said. Giving a little context, right quick, this is a crazy character change for Chris Evans in the realm of superheroes, because before this he played Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four,
Yeah,
as
that's right.
Human
yeah.
Torch, who is like a complete like party boy, playboy, kind of
Mhm.
kind of person.
Yeah.
So to go from that to this is like insane.
Yeah, he basically played Tony Stark before Tony Stark was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much true. Yeah, and then this is also this is when we start to see the main thread for Avengers start to come into play, because this introduces the Tesseract.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
So this is the first one that kind of gives us the clue towards, the Infinity Saga.
Yeah, because technically we didn't know it at the time, and that was our first glimpse of the Infinity Stone of the Space Stone.
Yep. Which actually, it's an interesting factoid as well. Sorry, I know that I'll move on quickly after this, but in the comics, so like the MCU has grafted the Infinity Stones into a lot of ways where they've made it work for the story, right, of the movies, that are actually different from the comics, because like a lot of the other objects, and we'll get to them when we get to them, but the cube, the Tesseract, in the comics is actually a different thing than the Space Stone. Because the Tesseract is actually also known as the Cosmic Cube, which is also, it's this whole different thing than the Space Stone. They're different things in the comics. Which the Cosmic Cube is actually what Red Skull is always after, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Not because it's a space stone, but because it's just the Cosmic Cube and it's a source of power. So it's always been referenced as that. It was in the recent comics where the Cosmic Cube actually developed sentience and developed its own human form almost, right? And while under the control of Red Skull, it actually it got control of Steve Rogers and replaced his memories of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Hydra, and that's where we get the first appearance, in the comics, of Captain America saying "Hail Hydra," is because of all that, and that's what led to the Secret Empire storyline in the comics, where Captain America became a member of Hydra rather than S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avengers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, that was a cool little tidbit. I also wanted to mention this is that the look that Steve Rogers gave when the super soldier serum was starting to take effect before the thing closed on him, how his eyes went super blue.
Yeah.
That same look is in every time the Hulk starts to, where he's past the point of no return and turning into the Hulk in their Incredible Hulk film. There's that they mimicked that motion, that shot the same, because that's what Bruce Banner was trying to replicate. He was trying to replicate the super soldier serum that was given as Captain America.
That's true.
So obviously it would have the same effect, but the same physical response, but not to the extent of turning Bruce Banner into the Hulk. And that's where it was. It was like it went wrong. Which that was actually a later development in the comics, because originally it was just due to gamma radiation. It just it just messed him up and turned him into this monster. But really, it was later in the comics that they kind of retconned it into where, like, oh yeah, Bruce Banner was actually assigned to replicate the super soldier serum from Captain America, and it just went wrong. Because nobody's been ever able to perfect it. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. I always knew about the gamma radiation. I didn't know about that they even changed it. I thought he was always his origin was always something to do with gamma. But that's interesting.
Yeah. They mention it a little bit in the Incredible Hulk movie. It was when General Ross was talking to Emil Blonsky about really what the Hulk was, and really where he came from and kind of stuff. It was a very short scene, and it's kind of in the middle of the movie where it's kind of boring, so it's hard to miss.
Yeah.
I mean, not hard. It's not hard to miss. No, it is hard to miss.
It's easy to miss.
No, it's easy to miss. There we go.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. All right. Anyways.
On that
note, Avengers Assemble, but not yet. Yep. Avengers 2012. This is great. I remember being so hyped for this movie when it was coming out. It was insane.
It was insane. I clearly remember seeing this one in theaters.
Oh yeah, it's great, and it's done by the famous but now recently infamous Joss Whedon.
Ah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, which I mean, again, just for our listeners, we don't condone the things that Joss Whedon has been accused of recently.
Wait, what? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, there's been a whole. I think it's like it was a Me Too thing or like a sexual assault kind of thing.
Oh.
A lot of reports of Joss Whedon about that have come up recently. So a lot of people have been booing Joss Whedon and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So
Oh.
as
I thought
as
you
a
meant with the Justice League, and I was like,
oh
okay.
no. Yeah. So I mean, as a person, yeah, got a lot of big issues to work on, and
Well, I mean, these are
he's,
just accusations. It probably hasn't even gone to court yet. So
we don't know, but
man,
but his work is amazing because he came to this after starting out doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer and then doing Firefly and then now this, and it's like hit after hit after hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this movie really. I mean, it changed movies.
Yep.
There's a handful of times in cinematic history that you can go back and like point to certain movies that like changed the landscape of cinematography, and this is one of them.
Yep, that is it. Yeah, I mean, now after you've seen all these movies afterwards, like people are doing their own shared universes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all these movies that it's almost like sometimes they feel like to be in the cool zone, like, oh, we have to have these movies connect to each other and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is a whole debate for another day.
Hold on.
As to which franchises should or should not be connected.
Yeah. But with specifically Avengers, this is like you get the big six. You get all six of the Avengers: Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. Finally, on the big screen, all together, fighting against Loki.
Yep.
And the Tesseract. And
which is keep going.
Well, it was just because and his at the time we didn't know it, but his Mind Stone stick.
Yep. Glow stick of destiny.
Glow stick of destiny.
Yeah.
Thanos' army.
The Chitauri.
Yep, yeah. And Thanos' army.
Which is actually also a comic accurate thing right there. Like Loki was the very first villain of the combined Avengers in the comics.
Oh wow, really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. I mean, the Avengers themselves look different because the original Avengers, if I am not wrong, let me look it up. I knew it was like you had it consisted of Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hulk, Thor, and the Wasp. That was the original team.
Oh, yeah, wow. I was gonna say I thought it was a different crew.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean, if y'all watch Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon show, the entire show actually covers comic history really well. When I was watching it with Joy, because she had grown up watching it, I'd never seen it. But we watched it earlier this year, and it's amazing because it starts off with that original crew, and then it goes through an actual times in comic history where like they discover Captain America, and then he joins the team, and then all this other stuff happens, and it follows the comics amazingly well. So it's really well done. Really well done. Mm-hmm. So it's very much of a big recommend, like Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes, and it's on Disney Plus. It's fantastic.
Oh.
Cool. So did anybody else have any closing remarks about just this movie?
Nope. Let's talk about. No, go ahead, Jackie.
Wait, we're still on Avengers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember exactly where I watched this. I can't remember if it was theaters or just somebody's house, but this was like so hyped up because it's been like, when did this come out? 2012?
Yep.
It was 4 years of a build-up, and then you
Mhm.
finally get this one. And then after this one, it's like you want so much more, but it's like, oh, it's gonna take another 4 years to actually get something else. But and I remember like looking forward to like the what was it? Infinity War, and then Infinity War Part 2 at that time is what it was called. And it was like,
Yeah.
God, that seems so far away. And now I'm actually here and I've already passed it. And it's like, wow, that looking forward, like the way that um like the things that you would think about back then versus what actually ended up happening, it's like you never would have like expected it.
Hmm. Very true. Yeah. On that note, so like, how does Phase One as a whole, um, you know, connect with, how does it connect with, the rest of our journey so far? What do y'all think?
I mean, it's an excellent launch point. I think they did a good job, like Marvel as a whole. Like when they did Avengers, they knew what they could do. So like
Hmm.
they knew, like, so when they were doing those first 5 movies, they had Endgame in mind. So they were like, they kind of did what we in the army call backwards planning. So like we want to get here. So how do we set it up?
Yep.
And so I think they just set it up perfectly with a lot of references and a lot of, like, not what's the best way to put it? A lot of wiggle room, for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But just a lot of story left to tell, if that makes sense.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think all of these movies seem like really basic in the sense of like they're not as like since they're the first ones, so they seem kind of like foundational stones, but then once you get into the later movies, it gets a lot more complicated. And as you get further and further along in the whole storyline, it seems like it's almost like Tony Stark has like his Mark 1. These movies were like the Mark 1 of the superhero movies, as well as just like in the Marvel universe, the Phase 1 or the Mark 1. And then as you go farther and farther along, they get more intricate and more like they're able to do more things since they've been so successful. But also, they still have the same overall storyline where you have the villain and the hero has to overcome something and then fight the villain, etc., etc. But they've got so much or the other ones have a lot more stuff that goes on in order to keep the storylines going, and then also the characters individual movies to be interesting. Like you've got so much stuff, but then these ones are just like so basic, so it's almost like not as busy as the later ones are, since they didn't have to one live up to the hype that they had set for themselves with these ones, and then also two, they didn't have to like put in so many different things in order to keep the the story as a whole for Marvel moving forward. It was just these were the focus. Like these ones were the only thing people were looking forward to, not like later down the road when people are looking
Yeah.
forward to, oh, what's this one gonna into to this movie and to that movie and that show kind of thing.
Hmm. Definitely. I have a theory of like, um, this, this kind of like, was the first, sphere of influence in the superhero world from our perspective. Phase, each phase kind of introduced a new area of the universe to be explored. So like, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of bouncing off what you were saying, JT. I almost called you Flash because I was looking at your username, but anyways, you had your pretty much Earthbound heroes. I mean, you had Thor, in Phase One, But the thing is, like most, like the good part of this movie, of his movie,
Oh, yeah,
was
that's
based
true.
on Earth, and so
Mhm.
we saw Asgard, but we dive a lot more into it in his next movie.
Mhm.
But like most of pretty much all of Phase 1 is pretty much Earthbound, and it's not until during Avengers that we get a
Mhm.
glimpse into space, and
Yeah,
so
that's
they're
true.
like, oh, there's something out there, so let's explore that more. And so then you have more of the space stuff in Phase 2, and
Mhm.
then at the end of Phase 2, and we'll get to this when we cover it, but into Phase 2 we get into like more of the mystical realm and
Oh, yeah.
places where science and magic kind of cross over, and then we get
Mhm.
into crazy stuff in Phase 4. But
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, cool,
But yeah, but
yeah,
as a whole, man, Phase 1 is awesome.
yep,
I mean,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's just such a neat concept that they had, and then what they could do from it, and like it's so cool to watch the later films and see the callbacks and see how decisions made in these first 5 in universe, like decisions that the characters made, affect things that happen in other movies.
yeah, definitely.
It's
That was
just
it.
kind of like a little bit of a neat continuity that they have with it.
Mm-hmm. So to wrap us up, how would you rank these 6 movies?
Ooh.
Mhm.
In terms of what, just like our personal favorites?
Yeah, your personal favorites. I can go first. So
Yeah, go
I'll
first.
rank
Let me think
I'll
about it.
rank Captain America, then Avengers, then Iron Man, then Iron Man 2, then Incredible Hulk, then Thor.
Hmm.
That's pretty much the same as mine, except I would put Avengers over Captain America.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'd almost do the same, except Captain America would be my favorite, and I would put Iron Man 2, and then Iron Man, and then Incredible Hulk and Thor.
Nice. Nice, nice. Alrighty. Well, that kind of sums up our, it wraps up our discussion. Thank you guys for, listening to our rants, I guess, our nerd
Absolutely.
outs. We nerded
Oh.
out all over the floor, and hopefully y'all can clean up. So yeah, we'll see what
But hang
happens.
on.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, JT, you have a humorous to show.
A Jad Doke.
Chad, yeah, like we can't sign off without our customary dad joke of the day.
Of course.
So, since we did Phase 1, I'm doing a Marvel themed one. So, what does Hawkeye wear with his suits?
Oh Lord. I have no idea.
You ready?
I think so.
A bow tie.
Oh my gosh.
Yuck.
Get it? Because he's an
Ah,
archer.
yeah. Yeesh.
It's a good old knee slapper there.
That ties our episode in a nice little neat bow.
Ah!
Uh,
Good one.
Uh,
Anyways, all right, everyone. Thank you all for listening. As always, share our videos, share our content, like, comment, follow, subscribe. Let us know what you think. That's all I got. You guys got anything else you want to say?
yeah, follow
like, comment,
us on social
subscribe.
media. Share
Unlike,
us with your friends and
uncomment,
family. Tell us
and
what people.
unsubscribe.
Yes. Stay away from us.
Stay away from us.
Leave us be.
Stop giving us notifications.
Hopefully we'll get to that point.
That's true.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
Don't
Well.
forget to turn your clocks forward an hour tonight, guys.
Oh jeez. Whatever.
Yeah, that happened last night, but
Shh.
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
It's part of the fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time.
see you next time, guys. Thanks for listening.
Signing off.
See ya.